We're back to my music, guys, and I'm so happy. Welcome to Better Together. Happy Friday, everybody. It is October 2nd, 2020. Our quote of the day: what's the key to success? The key is there is no key. Be humble, hungry, and the hardest worker in any room, says Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That's pretty much what I would say too. Thank you guys for joining us. Today we're going to be featuring longtime producing partner to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Hiram Garcia, to talk about how he and DJ shaped his career into becoming the world's most recognizable movie star. We're going to chat all about their new production that they're on the set of, Red Notice, how they're making the first kind of big movie since COVID, and Black Adam, which everyone's really excited about, and so much more. So I'm really excited for that. In the meantime, if you haven't joined us on YouTube, I say it every day, please join us. Click subscribe. You'll get notifications to let you know that we are on. And of course, if you haven't joined us on Patreon, now is the time to do it. We're starting to bring in all of these amazing guests you're seeing on the main show into the Patreon for a deeper, more personal experience. So we're doing these workshops, and you have access to them, and you can ask questions and, you know, be a part of these more intimate settings with these incredible healers, gurus, thought leaders, you know, experts. So join us if you click the link tree in my Instagram or the link tree in Better Together with Maria. You can join us very easily there. You just click the link. I know a lot of people are like, I don't know how to do this. It's crazy. And I get it. So we made it easy, or Kelsey made it easy. Click the link and jump on in there. I wanted to share something really funny. So since we're going to be talking about like inside the industry stuff today, I was learning about some inside the industry stuff. So you know how everything's obviously had to go virtual, right? Mm-hmm. So fashion shows went virtual. And I know, like, we saw Christian Siriano did his like fashion show in the backyard of his house or whatever. There were fashion shows where celebrities got ready to sit front row, but from their living room or their house. And they got scripts that said, look left and laugh, look right and be serious, or like wave this way, wave that way.
Hold the wave.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I was like, you're freaking joking me. Like, think about that. I would never ever think so. What they do is then they edit it together and it looks like, you know, that you were watching this true virtual kind of fashion show experience. And these are, I'm not going to name names, I'm not going to name designers, like massive stars and massive designers. And they had to kind of do this whole thing, which if I got that, I would be like, I'm not doing this. This is crazy times. But at the same time, you know, this is what's going to keep everything moving forward. So you have to. But like, how awkward would it be? Okay, Maria, like, this would be Kelsey. Be like, Kelsey, will you help me do this? And she'd be like, okay, Maria, go ahead. Tell me what to do.
Okay. Look left, laugh. Amazing. Keep laughing. Continue the laughing. All right. Stop. Look to your right. Wave. Beautiful. Yes. Happy.
Smile.
Elegant.
No
smile.
Okay.
Smile. Elegant. Yes. Okay. Looked.
I would die. When I heard this, I fell off my chair. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Unreal.
But that was actually really good. Sorry, like, I know you guys are doing it as a joke, but like watching both of you do that, I was like, wait, this is like kind of actually working?
It worked.
Yeah, I think, Maria, I love seeing you in actress mode. You know, people who are watching The Boys can see you there, but I know you're a great host. Sometimes I forget what a good actor you are.
Oh
that
my
was really
God,
fun.
thank you.
Killer job.
That was
Maria.
really, really fun.
I wasn't even trying. You know what's funny is when I was in our interview with Jen and Jared Padalecki, Kevin called me later and he goes, that was an amazing Paris Hilton impression. I go, what? And he goes, yeah. And I go, he's like, even Jared said it, Maria. He's like, and he's like an actor.
An actor, a thespian.
Like a real trained actor. And he said it. And I go, I thought he was just kind of saying it to be nice. And he goes, no. He's like, I'm a director. It was really good. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even try. I mean, I did. I can put myself in people's bodies and speak through them. So like I must have just jumped right in really fast. Like sometimes it takes me a second to do it. I don't know. It's kind of a weird process. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
It totally does.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is with hosting, you have to turn it on too. Obviously, I know this a little bit because I host. You're not acting as a host. You have to be yourself, but there is a bit of an elevated element to it when you're on camera. So in some ways, you've prepped yourself for, scripted on-screen performances, but it's something I know you love. And just as someone who works closely with you, I want to see you do more of it. It's
Me
really,
too.
really fun.
It's so funny.
The amount of people who have told me, "Oh my God, I love Maria and the Mindy Project." That one specifically.
Oh, I haven't heard that in a while. But yeah,
I got a couple the other day actually.
I got to sing on the Mindy Project. That was so fun. Yeah.
It's a really fun scene. It's just I know, we're doing a million things, and I know you've got a long list of professional endeavors right now, but I feel like I'm going to make sure acting's always on there because I just think you light up. It's really fun.
Thanks. It is fun to be creative. I feel like the process is kind of it's difficult for me because its pacing is so different than what I'm used to. So much sitting around.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I do really love it when I get to do it. But I never, at some point I realized I don't think I can do this forever because I have a different purpose in my life.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been like a full-time thing, but when I've gotten to do it, it was always such a great escape.
I think it makes sense for you to fly in and do these one-day things. Like The Boys, such a nice appearance for you, and I'm sure they ran a pretty
here
tight
and there.
ship
Like I would love to do something meaty, but it's not.
It's not the ultimate.
It's not my ultimate thing. Like at one point in my career, I thought that was what I was going to do.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I'm going to do movies and TV and whatever. And then I was doing nightly news and the Today Show, and
wow,
I couldn't really figure out how to do many roles that weren't offensive to that line of work.
Yeah.
So I remember telling my agents, I'm like, I can't be making out with people. I definitely can't be doing sex scenes. I can't be doing this. So it kind of narrowed a lot down.
That makes sense.
And I really had such a deeper passion to do that.
Yeah.
Even though I think I am like a performer at heart as well.
100%. Yeah.
I'm a confused human. I really like doing a lot of different things. I do. And that's why I always said I was going to, get in this way and then I'm going to do everything. And so.
But like Jeff said, I think that there is an element. I mean, you're performing when you're hosting. Like not to a degree like an actor does, but to a little bit of a degree. So
not
you. Like I'm saying, when you're on the carpet, you have to kind of right. So it's like you have that, and that's why you're special because you have a different way of doing it, right? You actually connect with people, so you're performing, but it's an authentic. Does that make sense?
I think that's 100% right. It's the listening thing.
Yeah.
And because that's what actors say. Acting is listening. It's just being there. And I will say, I consider myself a growing host. I mean, I'm obviously on this show, it's being such an honor. But when you watch hosts who aren't doing a good job, it's simply because they're not listening. They're thinking ahead to their next question. They're thinking, how do I look on camera right now? And I think the connection between your hosting and your acting is your really high bar focus on listening to the person that's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Boom.
Did I have my second episode of The Boys air yet?
I went back to watch it, and at least what IMDb said, I didn't see your scene, so I wonder if they moved it.
Oh, what if I got
We'll have
cut?
to go back and see.
You didn't get cut.
I don't know.
I'll cry.
I'll cry.
I don't even remember what the other scene was now.
I need to watch.
Laura and I are watching it, so we'll keep you posted.
Okay, cool. I can't watch it until I get home.
I know, she won't watch it with me.
I know.
Kev said she's not. Well, you're allowed to rewatch season 1 with me.
I don't want to go back and rewatch something I've already watched.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's hard enough to actually get to watch any of the viewing I want to watch.
That's true.
Although, if anything, I would rewatch, aside from The Gladiator, and Miracle, and Rocky, and The Wizard of Oz.
And Schitt's Creek.
I wouldn't rewatch that either because
I would every day of my life.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. Thanks for the shout out, guys. But I think I would probably rewatch The Boys because it was so layered. It's so good.
So you'll pick up different and new things.
Oh yeah, like Breaking Bad. If I watched that again, I would pick up new things that I didn't pick up the first time. It's so layered.
So fun.
Well, guys, if you're fans of the show, you know that I've been talking about Thrive Market because I'm a super fan, and I've really loved partnering with them over the last few weeks. But this is our last week for our campaign, so listen up. Of course, Thrive has made healthy living easy for me, and of course it can for you as well. I get all my organic pantry staples, clean beauty products, non-toxic home goods right at my fingertips. One-stop shop. Thrive Market features only the highest quality products. I just reordered recently on my order, and I get all my goodies for cheaper because I have a benefit. So there's a small membership fee, but you get bulk prices. So there's the benefit on upscale items. You get 25 to 50% off of retail, and those savings add up. So if you go to thrivemarket.com/bettertogether, check it out. First timers are going to get a free gift up to $24 in value. Was it $24? Yeah, $24. And if you're already a Thrive member, it still helps us here on the show if you go through our landing page. Just make sure you're already logged in and just go to thrivemarket.com/bettertogether and shop away. And of course, we will get a little bit of love for that. So thank you. And I know you guys have been really curious over the last month about what I've been talking about. If you haven't taken that step, it's super easy. The link to my landing page is the top line of this episode description. So even clicking that link to drive traffic to the site, you really help the show. Take 30 seconds, just click that link in the description, check it out. You guys will really love it. I really, really, really love it. And I'm really grateful now that I've been here in Connecticut with less options, or very few options. It's been really nice to get everything delivered to my doorstep like I do with all my other stuff. I online shop for everything. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to be able to find all my kind of higher quality health products and clean beauty products there. So check it out. And we're grateful for that. So that's that.
That we are.
So let's get to our interview. All right, guys, I'm so excited to chat with Hiram Garcia. He's a Cuban-American film producer, photographer, president of production at 7 Bucks Productions. He's been Dwayne The Rock Johnson's producing partner since his involvement in Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, Jumanji, The Next Level, has made him one of the top Hollywood producers today. Hiram, thank you so much for being here today. I know you guys are on set in Atlanta.
We are. Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to talk to you. Yeah, and we're here. We're shooting away in Atlanta. We're back into it and excited to be going.
So you guys are shooting Red Notice, right?
Yes.
This Gal Gadot person.
Yep. Little Gal Gadot, little Ryan Reynolds. It's a good squad, and we're shooting it with Netflix. And we had gotten shut down right before COVID. We were halfway through, and then, we shut down for a little bit, but now we're back up and running. I'm really excited. We had to reconfigure some things. Obviously, we made sure safety was a priority, and that took pretty much the 5 months we were shut down, all of that period of time to figure out a production plan to get us back up and running. But we reconfigured some things. We're finishing stuff up now on stages, and we're really fired up. And you know how it is. Through chaos, a lot of times greatness comes, and I think some of the creative decisions we were forced to make has actually put us in a better place. So fingers crossed, we're feeling good.
That's so cool. So you guys started filming and you had to stop?
Yes. Yeah. We were shooting in Atlanta. We were doing all our stage work here. And ironically, we were going to go to Italy to shoot. So it was literally right. I remember that first weekend when the first case popped up in Italy, and then it just all started to bubble. And by that Monday, we were like, all right, we need to start figuring out how to pivot. And then everything kind of, we all know where everything went from there. Yeah.
Wow. So my friend Dimitri was here this weekend, and he is a hair and makeup artist to, the stars.
Sure.
And he was telling me how much money people are spending on COVID police on set. Like, there are COVID police officers to make sure people are standing 6 feet away from each other. I was learning so much. And the COVID tests and how expensive they are. So yeah. When you look at the cost of filming now, like, what does that look like for a movie like Red Notice? And if you can say, I don't even know, I'm just curious at that. And then also what the precautions are like on a set. I feel like everybody wants to know what it really looks like.
Well, it took months, like I was saying, to come up with a plan and the protocols. Filming, we've never done anything like this, and that's what's really so interesting about it is, most of us have experience. You spend years cutting your teeth and doing productions and so forth. No one's ever encountered anything like this, so it's very much all in process. You're learning, but it is intense and it requires a lot to ensure the safety of the crew and the cast. And we know this thing can spread like that. Like 1 second, it's everywhere. So it's all about just putting yourself in a position to make sure everyone's safe, that everyone feels good, that the crew feels safe coming in, that the actors feel safe going on set. And so everything, like you're saying, from testing to new departments set up to not so much police, but assist in terms of, because you have a million things. You're always thinking about the creativity of the movie, just the creative process, making the best movie. But now you also have to think about the protocols, the safety of it, the measures, the distance, and so forth. So there's an entire new team that we've established for us that is there to help us with that. 50 new members that are spread out throughout set to just help and remind.
Whoa.
and
hold up. Did you just say 50? 50?
50, yeah, 50 members that are, because we have a giant crew. We have, we're well over 300 people on our movie just here on location. So you need it. You need that kind of help. And
holy shit! Wait, you have 300 crew members and 50 coronavirus people?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Now I know what that does to a budget.
Yeah, it's no joke. It's no joke, and it is. And look, we're very fortunate that this project is with Netflix, and they are at the forefront of it. I mean, they have been all in on whatever it takes to do this right and to do it safe. And they've been unbelievable partners. And from the moment it's happened, because when you start getting these curveballs thrown, like you're saying, it does affect your budget in a way. But when you have a partner like Netflix and who's standing right by you and has allowed us to do what it takes, we haven't, not cutting any corners, which is key on something like this. And especially for us to be the first giant production back in the United States, it's a big deal. So, we take that serious and we've been very successful on it. Knock on wood, things have been going great. And, we're getting into our third week now of filming, and it's really gone well.
Wow. So this is the first big production.
Yeah.
Wow. First of all, I am such a Gal Gadot fan. I'm such a Ryan Reynolds fan. Obviously, I'm such a Rock fan. I always smell what The Rock is cooking. But that's pretty crazy to be the first, and probably a lot of pressure on you as a producer.
Oh yeah. Look, it's a ton of pressure, but I got to tell you, our team has been such rock stars, and like our line producer and our production staff. I mean, this is the ultimate level of producing. Like, it's almost like, it seems like what we were doing before us kind of easy. It's a whole new game. And every day we just really give kudos to Netflix, to our line producer, to our production managers, because you're just never prepared for this. No one's, as much as we try and prepare in this business for everything, you never prepare for a global pandemic that is going to hit and is going to change the landscape of how you do everything. So it's really required you to exercise new muscles, and it also requires you to take a step back, because in production, and as you know this, we come up in a philosophy of, we just get it done. It doesn't matter, we're going to do it. And like, you have to pause now, because it's not just, we'll just get it done. It's like, how do we do this safely, and let's make sure we can do it right and ensure the safety of everyone, and then we'll get it done. And it's just a little bit of reconfiguring now, because we're always ready to run through a wall. And that's not the case anymore. Now we have to really, check all our boxes and cross our dots and T's and all those sayings you want to use to make sure we're doing everything right.
So I had heard on some productions, like I think it might have been soap operas that were first coming back, people were wearing masks as background actors. Is that something that you guys are doing too?
Depending on what the scene is and depending what's happening, for sure. We actually have some scenes that actually lend to that work well, but PPE is on everywhere all the time, and it's not until that moment of filming that our actors remove it, and then they do the scene, and then they pop it right back on. But we're really everywhere across the board. PPE is mandated, and it just is another level of protection just to ensure that nothing can ever slip by.
But even like on screen, you'll see people in masks, is what I've heard.
It depends really what it is. I mean, look, there's we haven't had anything like that yet, but there's situations where you have a conversation of, do we paint that out? Like, are they far enough out of the scene that, they're wearing it, and then in post, you can just kind of paint that away and not deal with it. I mean, all those things, literally every version of what you can imagine of, can we get away with this to do it? And can they, how can we comp this and shoot things separate? Has been explored. And there's going to be situations where I'm positive that you'll see people in the background who have mashed. You won't realize it when the final product, but it'll just get scrubbed away in post.
So what have you found to be the kind of positive spins that you've been able to take because of COVID as a producer on like the hugest movie?
Well, I think the positive spins would be just efficiency, right? You realize how much you can still get done with all these restrictions. So just being able to function from home, right? So there's always an idea of like, let me get right in front of the person. Let's fly over there. Let's do it. And you realize, like we're doing, Zoom is effective. Zoom's effective. You can do a lot. You can continue to push the business. You can continue to develop, and you can do it from having to work from home if you have to. When there's a will, there's a way. And I think it's really showed in our business the resourcefulness of everyone has stayed very busy, very focused on trucking forward. And even if we can't be in the same room, we have a TV show getting ready to go. And as well, you're doing those roundtables and you're doing them virtually, whereas you typically would always, the idea is you got to be in the same room and you got to break stories. No, we're doing it virtually. We're doing it via Zoom, and it's not ideal, but it's getting done, and the product is still really good. So I think it's just shown us that despite whatever obstacles are coming, that there's still a way we can still continue to move forward. We can keep everyone working. And also along the way, you realize, hey, maybe there's some more cost-effective ways that we can go about things that might have been a little bit more expensive before because we were trying to stay traditional way of let's be right face and face. Let's everyone fly in, do this. It's not ideal, but hey, we can do it from afar.
Yeah, I know. It was funny. After brain surgery, I started doing Zoom meetings with people because I'm like, I'm healing. I don't have time to run my ass around town. And it's really not effective when you're trying to heal from a massive surgery. So I started doing Zooms, and I realized, Hiram, that it was so much more fun.
Oh, yeah.
You're not having to run into buildings, get passes, park, get lost, have traffic, and all the bullshit everybody says. I'm like, traffic? Yeah. There's no excuse for traffic. Yeah. You just have to account for it, everybody. But anyway.
Yes.
And people were kind of like weirded out by it at first. And I've always been a FaceTimer because I feel like the phone is so archaic now where I need to see you. And people are like, oh my gosh, you're invading my privacy. I don't want to have to. But now it's the norm. And it was funny. Like I was a little ahead of the curve because of my circumstances. But I do feel like life is changing for the better in our industry because, listen, if you want to win in our industry, you got to go hard. And you work 100%. For someone who goes hardest. Yes. Okay? So a pace that most people couldn't even imagine. Sure. And I feel like what this is doing is it's going to help people, even like a Dwayne who is so used to operating on such a high level, be able to preserve himself a little bit more. Yeah. Right. And it's helping everybody look at a better way of living, right? Like we were talking about work-life balance and all this stuff, and really it's really hard to create a work-life balance when you're trying to win at something that everyone wants to win at and only 1% will, right? So you got to throw that away if you really want to win. But now for that group, it doesn't have to be as much.
Yeah. No, I love what you're saying, and it's very true. I think this is one of those things. I mean, look, I feel like this across businesses in general. How many people are reevaluating, do we need this office space? Do we need that overhead for an office space where we're really functioning at a high level with everyone working at home? Like there's just better ways to do it. And like you said, change is always going to come, right? I think when you look at the film business, we were already feeling change in terms of theatrical, right? Like what are people wanting to go to theaters to see? What are people wanting to see at home? This has just accelerated that. There's always been a version on the horizon of PVOD. What was that going to mean when something was released straight so that people could just order it on demand, right? Like those changes were coming. And, the truth is in a business like this, you always have two choices. You can either fight the change and get left behind or just get on board with it, because change is always going to happen. And if you're on board with it, you roll with it, you adjust, you learn, and you stick with it. So there's a lot of things I thought that were accelerated, but we're on the forefront. We've always known that theatrical model was going to start to adjust. It doesn't mean that theatrical is going to go away. Mm-hmm. It just means as content providers, you need to start understanding, what do people want to see in theaters? What is worth their time in a theater? And what do people want to see at home? There's still a place for all of it. And also, things that might have worked in theatrical, maybe people are happy to just receive it straight at home and they'll buy it on day one. Doesn't mean it has to go straight to a streamer. So it's about just staying light on your feet, but embracing the change, because it's going to come. And so either you hold on to it and you're a part of it, or you just get left behind and you're the one going, why are you guys not doing this anymore? It's like, we got to just stick with it. Just stick with it. And if you do, I think it's really, we've been propelled forward in these last 5 months in a big way, where it's like, it's a fast forwarding process of what happened. And now we're really seeing what was coming anyway.
Yeah. You've worked with some really cool people. Yeah. Is there someone on the list that you want to work with?
I mean, there's so many actors we admire that we'd love to work with. I'd love, huge fans like Chris Pratt, Bradley Cooper, Scarlett Johansson. I mean, it's the list goes on and on. I think we always have this pool of like, God, it would be great to partner with them, whether on a project for them, whether on something with DJ. But that's one of the fun things about our business, right? Is like, you get to work with really talented, special people. And then there's some that you come away from, like, when I think of, like Jungle Cruise, for the first time meeting Emily Blunt, where we were trying to get her onto the film, to bringing her on board, and to just realizing not only is she arguably the most talented actor on the planet, but she's just like DJ. She's busting your chops, and she's witty, and she's funny. Mm-hmm. And the minute she hears your voice, 5 minutes later, she's doing an impersonation. And her and DJ elevated the set of Jungle Cruise so much, where he had met this perfect counterpart. It's like when him and Kevin work together, it just radiates energy down through set, where it's just fun. And so I think when you can find, talent like that not only are they talented, but they just have that outlook on life, where they're appreciative, they're happy, they're joyful, then it just makes the production that much better. Because we know anything in this business is hard to get done and to make, and we work hard hours, but when your leaders, when your stars of the movie are radiating that positivity and that kindness, it just makes it so much better, and you create a family environment. And look, at the end of Jungle Cruise, when we wrapped, it was like it was like high school graduation. Like, everyone's crying. Aww. It was a real family, and you don't get that all the time. So when you do, it really stands out in your mind. So that's also why we try and do repeat business. Once we find someone we like, life's too short with how hard we work. Like, let's work with them again. It's so much fun. Let's do something else with Kevin. Let's do something else with Emily. It's like, as best we can. It's those are the goals.
Yeah. I remember Adam Sandler always had his crew, because that's probably who he had the most fun with. You run a massive production company. So as president of $7, I wonder what advice you would have to people who want to enter this industry right now.
Look, I mean, I think, and it's how I approach it too. If you want to get into the industry, the great thing about our business is that there is no set way in, right? There's a million entry points. It's all just about determination, resilience, and your work ethic, right? And so I've always believed that there's a version of being able to take a step back before you move forward. So, a lot of times when you first go in, when I first did my first job in terms of PAing, I PA'd in commercials in Miami. My first job, I didn't get paid. It's just like, look, let me just prove myself. I'll go in here, I'll do whatever you want. I'll sweep, I'll mop, I'll do whatever. Just let me show you that I have a work ethic and I'm willing to learn. And I did that job for free. It was brutal. It was a brutal couple of days. They take as much advantage as they can. They're like, well, he's working for free. But then at the end of that, they're like, let me recommend you. There's another commercial going. I'm going to pass you on to that production manager, and they'll give you a shot, and you get yourself in. So I think it's just be willing to open yourself and be humbled by, like, you may have to intern, you may have to work for free for a couple jobs or something like that, but it will pay off. And then be ready to get smacked down again, because several times I thought I've made a big step forward. I achieve a little bit of success and I get knocked down 10 feet further, and then you got to climb back up. But it's the process, it's like thick skin. and pushing forward. But the biggest thing I always say with this business, and Maria, you were mentioning it before, there's a million people trying to do what we want to do, right? You're competing I think no matter what, when you have a dream like this, your dream no one can ever tell you that your dream is done. They can't. Like, no one will ever understand what it takes, what we have in ourselves to have such a lofty dream. It's like, and a lot of people, they can't relate to that. So you just always have to know you're the only one who can actually say, you know what? I think this probably isn't the path. Don't ever let anyone else tell you that. It's like no one's ever going to be able to believe as much as you believe. They're never going to have the confidence as much as you do. And they're never going to know what's inside you as well as you do. So push forward, and it's okay if you choose not to pursue the dream. Just make sure that you're the one who tells yourself not to keep going. Never let anyone else.
Great advice. I have to say, I know we're starting to run out of time, but I loved your book.
Thank you so much.
And as I was going through it, I saw, photo of Dwayne coming back to WWE and you telling the story about how his team didn't want him to be in wrestling. Yeah. And I didn't realize his team didn't want him to be in wrestling, and that was a thing, right? Because I know it's important to distinguish yourself, but to forget it, like, it's always so crazy when an actor that we loved for a certain show really wants to separate themselves and never speak about that role. It's like, it just breaks so many hearts. And so for a diehard wrestling fan like myself, like, if The Rock never came back, right? The Rock always comes back. Finally, The Rock has come back to Boston, right?
Key catchphrase. Yeah,
if The Rock hadn't come back, I would have been crushed. But I actually had the good fortune. I don't know if you know this. Kelsey, do you have the photo queued up that Steven sent? I had the good fortune of coming into WrestleMania for my first and only match at WrestleMania. It was my third wrestling match in the WWE on his return to WrestleMania.
Right. Oh, well, I was going to correct you because you said wrestling fan, but I was also going to say and wrestler.
Thank you.
You can't leave out the fact. I mean, you performed, my friend.
This is a good point. This is a good point. I literally was like, okay, I'm doing Dancing with the Stars. I'm, hosting Extra. I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, I have busted ribs. My feet are shattered from Dancing with the Stars. I had 7 stress fractures, Hiram. And I told my husband, I go, I can't go wrestle. Are you crazy? He goes, you're going to wrestle.
And you did.
I go, do you love me? Like, I could impale myself. Like, what? I don't think I can do this. He goes, if you don't do this, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. You will be fine. And so I remember knowing that The Rock was coming back. I'm like, this is going to be epic. And so I caught him. I got that photo. I went in. It was amazing. The highlight of my whole life. And my husband's right as always. He always knows. But yeah, it's interesting because I had similar things after I did my first. People were like, okay, cool. That was fine. That was like a fun thing. But you can't do it again. I'm like, why? If something speaks to my heart and I like authentically love it, why am I going to stop doing it? Because you're going to pass a judgment on me that now people are going to think I'm a wrestler girl or whatever. I'm like, I don't care what they think. I freaking love this.
It's so true. I love that you said that because and you said it exactly. Why can't you? Why can't you do all the things you're doing? There's nothing malevolent in anything you're doing. It's all good stuff and it's fun and you're pursuing dreams and people are enjoying it. And I think that's what we always encountered, where it just got to a point where we said, well, just why? Why can't we? Why can't we have a dream of saying, you know what, we want to go do something huge for the fans and break records and do something that's never been done before and do movies and why can't we do it all? And we realized we could, and we aligned it so that we could pursue the dreams. And look, and if we're going to miss, fine. If you end up failing, great. That's what we do. We swing for it. But if you win, like we did, we end up making a super memorable moment for the fans, something for us that we were super proud of. That run was crazy. And working with John Cena was so much fun and all culminating in something huge in Miami in our hometown. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Yep. So I think that's one of those things, again, where you always want to try and align yourself with people who just share into your vision. Because the truth is in the world that we work in, to be here is one of those impossible dreams anyway. So we're so fortunate to be here. Keep dreaming and align yourself with people who believe in that, because you can do it. Anything is possible. Go for it. If you fail, hey, you fail. You move on, but don't let that prevent you from swinging, right?
Yeah. on to the next. The book was great because you really get to see your friendship and of course Dwayne's like kind of entire journey, right? And I love how Danny and all of you stayed close through everything. It's a testament to who he is, obviously. Sure. To be able to maintain all of those relationships and now own the XFL with his ex-wife and all of this stuff. It's crazy, amazing. And so seeing the photos and the tidbit stories along the way was really fascinating. I wonder, lastly, what is maybe the biggest lesson you think you've learned from him? I know you've learned a lot because he's going to probably be running for president in the next cycle, I'm sure. But, so you obviously are learning a lot from him and he
can do it all.
He can. Oh, for sure. For sure. I see it now. It's going to happen. But, what do you think has been the most impactful lesson for you?
I test it to two things, I think, that I would say. One is definitely work ethic. I mean, it's, I kind of equate it back to something simple of, I remember one time asking him, it's like, hey man, why don't you use a trainer? And he just said, he's like, because no trainer can push me as hard as I can push myself, and I thought it was so defining for him. It's his work ethic, and both him and Danny, I've both learned so much in terms of just an incredible work ethic and a hunger of you work like tomorrow's not going to be there. And that really trickles down through our company, which I've loved. And I think the other thing I've always learned from him, and it's actually comes back to the business of the wrestling business, is he's always had this macro view of, as hard as it can be, we all have ego, right? You can't help it. And there's just certain things, a little thing. It's like, oh, well, why don't I win in this moment? I should win. People want me to win. Always rising above and remembering what's best for the business. And sometimes it requires you to like say, in a wrestling term, it's like, yeah, I'm going to put this guy over. I'll let him win. It's like, and I'm going to be the best version of the heel. Me winning isn't any testament to me. It's what's best for the business. And I think we approach our entire industry and everything we do with that. There's a lot of times where you have to make decisions where just for a second, your ego picks in. It's like, what about me? You're like, no, it's about the business. What's the best thing for the business? And ultimately, that's always going to make everyone win in a big way. So I've always loved that about him. I've always marveled because I remember being a young wrestling fan when I would just help him out with dialogue and stuff and not very smart to business and be like, man, you should be winning here. And he's like, and he would teach me to be like, man, it's not what it's about. It's about what's the best version of this for the show, what's going to help the business the most, what's going to make my opponent look good, and then ultimately make me look good, and then we all win. And I've carried that with me always, and there's a lot of times where sometimes that gets tested, and then you try and take a step back, 50,000 foot perspective, and when you do what's best for the business you're dealing in right there, you always ultimately win most. And I really love that I learned that from him.
I love that. I remember reading that, like, no trainer would ever push me in your book. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like, this is insane. I'm like, but what's interesting is, and I mean, I could talk to you for probably hours because
I know this
common
is so fun.
Points, but like, I know I have to end. But at some point I want to get into the dialogue stuff because I just think it's fascinating that you were a part of all that. That's just insane because there's probably never been anyone better on a mic. Okay, we'll leave that there. Oh my God. I mean, oh my God, he was so good. Okay.
I will tell you one quick story, quick fun story. My favorite memory of it, probably of all that, and we've been able to do some great things, but I remember when we were working against John, and that rivalry was intense, especially that first one. There was, we were doing things a little different than on both sides. But I remember the WWE dropped on us. They're like, all right, you guys are going into Cleveland and, just drop on you. We need you to do a rock concert. 45 minutes, live in front of the Cleveland audience. Just knock it out of the park. And, at first you're like, yeah, great, whatever. And then you're like, what are we going to do? Like, can you learn a song in a night? Like, what song are you going to learn? And I just remember that night, it was me, it was him, it was Brian Gewirtz, who was, former head writer of WWE, and just kind of having a blast coming up with the most ridiculous rhymes and songs, and, to stay up till like 3 a.m. doing it that night, and then to go into the arena the next night, watch him perform it live. And it's one of those things you don't get as much in film and TV because, you make it, you polish it, you put it through post, you test it. WWE, you have one shot, you go live, that's it. And to be able to go out in the fans, among the fans, and just watch him go in front of that arena in Cleveland and light up the crowd and everyone be in the palm of his hand and singing along to, our very bad version of Jailhouse Rock with these absurd lyrics. It was one of my favorite memories because we killed ourselves putting it together, and then for the next night to be able to go out and experience the joy of the crowd and the ridiculous stuff that he was saying about John, and then John was crushing him in his rap. That was a crazy time in our history.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and watch that.
That's the easiest one, but if you ever go back and watch that,
I'm gonna, you know why? Like, here's the thing. This is why I've always had such a deep admiration and respect for wrestlers. The humility they have, the talent they have that was underrated for such a long time. And for so long, I was like the champion screaming out there and being like, guys, you're missing the boat. Like, they can perform to a crowd of 30,000 people and hold them in the palm of their hand. And they know how to switch gears in a second if it's not working. They memorize monologues that most actors couldn't even attempt. And they're off the cuff and impromptu, like doing so much while they're having to be athletes, while they're putting their bodies on the line 360 days a year. And then when they're exhausted, they're backstage with, any charitable organization that's there, giving them all their time. They are incredibly talented performers. And now what's great is you get to see them breaking through now. With, The Rock is such a great example, and it's so cool to watch. And I'm so happy to see everybody just succeeding and having that path be a lot clearer now.
Yeah. I love it. Agreed.
So, before I let you go, I have to ask Black Adam.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
people will murder me if I don't ask Black Adam.
That's our baby, and it's we love all our babies, all our films are our babies, but we are especially excited about that one, and we have such big visions. Look, I'm the biggest comic nerd. My whole dream, like, if there's one thing I always said I had to do, I had to make a superhero movie, right? Mm-hmm. And this is Black Adam, and what we're planning to do with that universe, with all the characters we're introducing in the Black Adam universe, and to take a force of nature like Black Adam and just stick him right in the middle of the DC universe. That's completely going to upend the hierarchies of power, because he is powerful, and he is vicious, and he has all that kind of Rock swagger you'd want in terms of a guy who's got that chip on his shoulder and from what he's come from. But, we're going to start filming that next year, probably first quarter. We have huge ambitions for it, and we are going very strong in it. So, DJ's literally been training for that movie, I want to say, for a year now. He's physically, we've seen him. He's a beast all the time.
Yeah.
He comes in and I'm like, Jesus, brother. Your traps have traps, and everything is like, I'm just training for Black Adam. I'm just training. He's so fired up for it, and our script is spot on. We have big ambitions for it, so I can't wait for you to check it out. You got to come visit us when we're shooting that next year. I think you'll love it and see all the cool technology we're doing to really bring that world to life.
I will, for sure. I know. I saw him on Instagram in that tight blue shirt, and I was like, wait, is this even possible? There's no way. He's wearing a costume. How can a body even do that? His body was already insane. Now I understand he's training for this. It's it was a next level kind of thing.
I'm telling you. I'm like, why doesn't my Thigh Master get me those results? I'm killing myself over COVID. Nothing's coming. Nothing's going on.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's been really fun, and I think when you see it, I think to be a part of the DC universe, and it's what we've always wanted, and we're going to do some big stuff in there. Yeah.
I love it. Well, Hiram, thank you so much for your time. I know you guys are really, really busy there on the set of Red Notice. Good luck. And
thank you so much.
And we'll talk soon. Tell Dwayne I say hello.
Will do. And thank you so much for having me. Let's do this again.
I would love that.
This is a lot of fun, and I will pass on the love for sure.
What a great insight into what's going on in the biz right now. So thank you so much. And of course, if you guys want to see his new photo book, The Rock can be found in the link in the bio on his Instagram at HHGarcia41. So you can find that in the summary of this as well. We'll just put it in there so it's easy for you guys. Hiram, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Be safe over there.
You too.
Bye-bye.
How fun. It's so cool to get to hear how the filming is going, and I've been forgetting to mention all the things that I've been learning along the way about what's going on these sets that are starting to come back.
50 additional people.
The set wasn't insanely crowded enough back before COVID. Yeah.
Insanity. Yeah, he was
It
awesome.
just makes me so hopeful. Like, I'm so glad to hear the industry's coming back because like, you know, it can be easy to get swamped by the bad news of COVID, but like if The Rock and Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds are making a movie in Atlanta, a blockbuster,
yeah,
right?
I'm those like, three teeny little actors.
So small. So small.
The biggest
but it gives
stars.
me hope.
Yeah.
It's like that feels like normal life to go see a movie with those three actors. And I'm like, if they're doing it, there's hope. We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it really is like who you're talking to, right? Like I remember 100%. we were in a sunken place too. And then I remember talking to Randall Emmett and, you know, he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do a movie with, you know, Bruce Willis and this and that. I'm like, wait, shit's happening again? Mm-hmm. What? Oh, okay. And it's just who you choose to put yourself around and who you choose to listen to. There are going to be the people who are negative about everything and there are going to be the people who are forging through, like Hiram said, finding a way and not letting anybody stop them. You know, and you know, you can either get on the train or not, but you know, don't begrudge the people who found a way, because the way is there if someone else found it, right?
That's a great point.
That's a quote. Don't begrudge the people who found a way. I'm writing that down and putting it somewhere. That's really good.
Thanks,
beautiful,
guys.
Maria.
Thanks,
it's
guys.
so true. It's so true. Instead of like crapping on everyone else for actually doing it, why don't you figure out a way to do it too?
Well, like I had the realization this week that I've been kind of, I don't want to do TikTok. I don't want to do social media. I haven't wanted to do social media since after surgery. And I realized, wait a second, like, yes, and I'm still kind of keeping up with some stuff, but barely, guys, to be honest, and with half a heart. And so I realized, wait, if I don't jump on board now, I'm going to get left behind. And then I'm going to be that person who's like, well, on my day. And you just... that doesn't cut it. Like you can't keep growing if you don't keep growing, right? So if this is the way things are going, you can't just sit over here and just wish that they were still that way. So they're a different way. Let's go the different way and make the most of the different way and find your way within that way. Like what works for you? What makes you happy in that way? So I realized, I can have fun with TikTok. There was a minute where I was doing it and it was super fun. Yep. And then, you know, I didn't understand how to do a lot of stuff on there. And now I learned a few things and I was like, oh, that's how they were doing it. I thought people were spending their entire lives crafting TikToks.
So did I.
They're actually a lot easier once you know better, then you can do better. So anyway,
dang right.
That is that. I'm really glad we got Hiram on the show. How do we get Hiram on the show?
Jeff. He's pitched to Jeff, right, Jeff?
Someone pitched him to us?
For some reason, I thought you looped him in with their team, Maria. I think it was KP. I need to figure it out, but it was a connection that brought us together. So
that was so cool.
So fun.
Yeah, very exciting.
He's so great too. Well, thank you guys as always for joining us. Like we said earlier, if you haven't hit subscribe, please do, and click the link tree in my Instagram to join us on Patreon. If you liked today's episode, check out episode number 30 with Bazoma St. John. She was or is the CMO of Netflix, where Red Notice will be dropping in 2021. She's a badass. And this Monday, we're going to be featuring New York Times bestselling self-help author Rachel Hollis to talk through how we can work through challenges with grace and resilience. In the meantime, follow us at HHGarcia41, at Jeffrey Crane Graham, at Kelsmeyer2, at Better Together with Maria. And remember, be nice people, make good choices, and be present.